Hi there, viewers and gamers alike out there. Today I'm going to try something a little different and start off a little side project I've been working on, not for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Doing Books website. I'm your host, Austin Lawrence. Before I begin, don't forget to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. And without further ado, let's get straight into this. Like I said, I'll be starting off a little side project that we're working on. I call it the Deep Dive Archetype. A little SEO themed custom Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. I have these listed alphabetically, so let's begin. First off, we have Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Blacksmith. Next is a fire attribute warrior monster with the following effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by triggering Deep Dive Adventurer Blacksmith with Deep Dive class chains. All Deep Dive mods you control gain 500 attack. All Deep Dive odds cards you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Next up, Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Hunter. Again, it's a light attribute warrior monster with the following effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by triggering Deep Dive Adventurer Sniper with Deep Dive class chains. All Deep Dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, all Deep Dive monsters you control can attack directly. Oh, got Advanced Adventurer Blacksmith has 3,800 attack and 4,000 defense. While Advanced Adventurer Hunter has 37,000 attack and 3,300 defense. What else we got? To put there. Next up, Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Paladin is a light attribute warrior monster. Oh, forgot to mention the levels. All Deep Dive Advanced Adventurers cards are level 10, so do keep that in mind. Forgot to mention that. There was that. Oh yeah, Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Paladin. It's a light warrior monster with 3,700 attack and 3,300 defense with the following effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by triggering Deep Dive Adventurer Fencer with Deep Dive class chains. All Deep Dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. When this card declares an attack, inflict 500 piercing damage to your opponent for every monster they control. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reword that. Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Shades is a level 10 wind attribute warrior monster with 3,500 attack and defense with the following effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be spell summoned by triggering Deep Dive Adventurer Tamer with Deep Dive class chains. When this card is summoned, all Deep Dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. All Deep Dive beast monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. And the last of the Advanced Adventurer series, Deep Dive Advanced Adventurer Warrior is a level 10 Earth Attribute Magical Knight monster with 4,400 attack and 4,000 defense, and has the following effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by triggering Deep Dive Adventurer Battle Mage and Deep Dive class chain. Gonna have to reword that. All Deep Dive monsters control gain 500 attack. Once returning to spell summon one Deep Dive Fairy monster from your hand deck or graveyard, ignoring its summoning condition. Okay, and now to the standard adventurers. Deep Dive Adventurer Battle Maids is a level 4 wind attribute magical knight monster with 2400 attack and 1500 defense, with the following effect. When this card is summoned, all deep dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, you can add one deep dive fairy monster from your deck, hand, or graveyard to your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Berserker is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 2000 attack and 1500 defense, with the following effect. When this card is summoned, all deep dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. All deep dive monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Deep Dive Adventurer Blacksmith is a level 4 Fire Warrior monster with 1800 attack and 2000 defense, with the following effect. When this card is summoned, all deep dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, you can add one deep dive armed spell card from your deck to your hand. Okay, from henceforth, the all deep dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. I'm gonna skip over the all deep dive monsters gain 500 attack effect, since that's pretty standard for all deep dive monsters. Deep Dive Adventurer Broker is a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1500 attack and defense. And its unique effect is you add one deep dive spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect at Deep Dive Adventurer Broker once per turn. Deep Dive Adventurer Dark Knight. It's a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1900 attack defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, spell summon one Deep Dive Dark Lander monster from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Fencer is a level 4 Water Warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1900 defense, and has the following effect. Unique effect. When this card declares an attack, inflict 500 LP life points of piercing damage for every monster your opponent controls. Deep Dive Adventurer Frost Swordsman is a level 4 Water Warrior monster with 800 attack and 1600 defense, and has the following unique effect. When it's card summoned, all deep dive monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. Only one of two cards that boosts defense in addition to attack. Just so you know. We'll get to that later. Your opponent cannot target deep dive monsters with card effects, except Deep Dive Adventurer Frost Swordsman. Deep Dive Adventurer Girl is a level 3 Fire Warrior monster with 1200 for attack and defense. It has the following unique effect. This card can be special summoned if you have Deep Dive Adventurer Swordsman and Deep Dive Adventurer Girl. Adventurer Fencer on the field. I'm gonna have to reword that. Deep Dive Adventurer Guardian. It's a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 2400 attack and 2000 defense, and has the following unique effect. When your opponent declares an attack, discard this card, and if you do, the attacking monster is destroyed instead. Deep Dive Adventurer Idol. It's a level 4 Fire Warrior monster with 1900 attack and 1500 defense, with the following effect. If Deep Dive Adventurer Researcher is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Knight. It's a level 4 light warrior monster with 1900 attack and defense, and has the following effect. Once per turn, you can add 1 Deep Dive Knight card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Lancer. It's a level 4 water warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1000 defense, and has the following unique effect. When this card is destroyed and sent to a graveyard, add 1 Deep Dive card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Merchant. It is a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 2400 attack and defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, you can take 1 Deep Dive spell or trap card from your graveyard and add to your hand. Deep Dive Adventurer Outcast. It is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 2000 attack and 1000 defense, and has the following unique effect. Special summon 1 Deep Dive Adventurer monster from your hand. You can have to errata that. Hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Deep Dive Adventurer Outcast once per turn. Deep Dive Adventurer Quiet One. More, please. That's better. It's a level 4 light warrior monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense, and has the following unique effect. All Deep Dive monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Deep Dive Adventurer Reaper. It is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 900 attack and 1700 defense, with the following unique effects. If Deep Dive Adventurer Fencer is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is summoned, never mind, I'll skip that one because that's standard. This card gains fire attack for every monster in the graveyard. Deep Dive Adventurer Researcher. It's level 4 light warrior monster with 1500 attack and 1900 defense, and has the following unique effect. If Deep Dive Adventurer Idol is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Next up, Deep Dive Adventurer Samurai. It is a level 4 Fire Warrior monster with 2100 attack and 1500 defense, and has the following unique effect. Once per turn, target 1 monster your opponent controls, and if you do, destroy it and deal damage equal to half of the target monster's attack. Deep Dive Adventurer Scarlet Soldier. It is a level 4 Fire Warrior monster with 1500 attack and 1900 defense, and has the following unique effect. When its cards use its Seize material, add 1 Deep Dive Armed spell card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Deep Dive Adventurer Scarlet Soldier once per turn. And these next three are fusion monsters. Deep Dive Adventurer Siblings. It's a level 8 Wind Warrior Fusion monster with 3,700 attack and 3,000 defense, and has the following effect. Requires 1 D-Die Adventurer Swordsman plus 1 D-Die Adventurer Battlemates. You can only use each of the following effects of D-Die Adventurer siblings once per turn. 1. Special summon 1 D-Die Fairy monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. 2. And 2. Add 1 D-Die World spell card from your deck to your hand. Now, D-Die Adventurer Sisters is a level 8 Light Warrior Fusion monster with 4,400 attack and 3,400 defense. Requires 1 D-Die Adventurer Idol plus 1 D-Die Adventurer Researcher. When this card is summoned, all D-Die monster. Add 1 D-Die monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the defend D-Die Adventurer Sisters once per turn. Next up, D-Die Adventurer Sleeping Knights. It is a level 8 Light Warrior Fusion monster with 3,600 attack and 3,300 defense, and has the following unique effects. Requires 1 D-Die Adventurer Fencer plus 1 D-Die Adventurer Swordswoman. All D-Die monsters control can inflict piercing battle damage. D-Die Adventurer Sniper is a level 4 Light Warrior monster with 1,700 attack and 1,500 defense, and has the following effect. Unique effect. Once per turn, this card can attack the opponent directly. Next up, our next fusion monster, D-Die Adventurer Soldiers. It's a level 8 Light Warrior Fusion monster with 2,900 attack and 2,500 defense. It has the following unique effects. Requires 1 D-Die Adventurer Scarlet Soldier plus 1 D-Die Adventurer Violet Soldier. You can only use the following effects of D-Die Adventurer Soldier once per turn. 1. Add 1 D-Die Armed spell card from your deck to your hand. And 2. Spell summon 1 D-Die monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. Next up, D-Die Adventurer Spy. It's a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1,900 attack and 1,500 defense, has the following unique effects. If you control 1 or more D-Die monster, you can spell summon this card to your opponent's side of the field. Your opponent loses 500 life points for every card they control except D-Die Adventurer Spy. This card returns to your side of the field during your opponent's end phase. D-Die Adventurer Swordsman is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1,800 attack and 1,600 defense, and has the following effect. When this card is summoned, all D-Die monsters gain 500 attack and 500 defense. When I said in the Frost Swordsman segment there'd be another monster that boosts defense and does no attack, well, this is it. Your opponent cannot target D-Die monsters for attacks except D-Die Adventurer Swordsman. D-Die Adventurer Swordswoman. As a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1,900 attack and 4,000 defense, it has the following unique effect. If this card is in the graveyard, target 1 D-Die monster you control. The target monster gains 500 attack for the rest of that turn. D-Die Adventurer Tamer. Level 4 Wind Warrior monster with 1,500 attack and defense, with the following unique effect. Once a turn, you can spell summon 1 D-Die Beast monster from your hand. D-Die Adventurer Treasure Hunter. It's level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1,500 attack and 1,000 defense, with the following unique effect. Destroy all spell check cards your opponent controls. Can we use this effect to deep dive into a treasure hunter once per turn. And so far, currently the last of the Deep Dive Adventurer monsters, Deep Dive Adventurer Violet Soldier. It is a level 4 Water Warrior monster with the following effect. With 1900 attack and 1500 defense, it has the following unique effect. When its cards use its means material, spell summon one Deep Dive monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use this effect to Deep Dive Adventurer Violet Soldier once per turn. Now, it's time for us to get to the Deep Dive Arms equip spells. Starting with Deep Dive Arms Assault Rifle. It is an equip spell with the following effect. Equip this card only to a Deep Dive monster. This equipped monster gains 500 attack. If the equipped monster is used as these materials, return this card to your hand. Okay, for henceforth, I'm going to skip over the can only equip to a Deep Dive monster, and the equipped monster gains 500 attack, since that's standard for Deep Dive Arms cards. Deep Dive Arms Axe is the equipped spell. Not much further to say here, since it's nothing special for Deep Dives. Same goes for Deep Dive Arms Berserker's Greatsword. Deep Dive Arms Blaster is an equipped spell with the following unique effect. If this card is equipped to a Deep Dive monster, you destroy one monster your opponent controls. Deep Dive Arms Bow. Equipped spell, not further to say here since it doesn't have a unique effect. Deep Dive Arms Claws. It's an equipped spell with the following unique effect. Once per turn, add one Deep Dive spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Arms Cursed Sword. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. When this card is sent to a graveyard, spell summon one Deep Dive Adventurer monster from your graveyard. Deep Dive Arms Dagger. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. When this card is equipped to a Deep Dive monster, spell summon one Deep Dive Beast monster from your hand or deck. Deep Dive Arms Dark Sword. It's an equipped spell with the following unique effect. If this card is set to the graveyard, shuffle into your deck and draw one card. Deep Dive Arms Dual Blade. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. The equipped monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. When the equipped monster declares an attack, deal 500 life points of damage to your opponent for every monster your opponent controls. You can only activate one Deep Dive Arms Dual Blades per turn. Deep Dive Arms Excalibur. It's an equipped spell with the following unique effect. This card is always treated as a Deep Dive Fairy card. Deep Dive Fairy monster control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Deep Dive Arms False Sword. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. This card is sent to the graveyard. Target one Deep Dive monster from your deck or graveyard and add it to your hand. Deep Dive Arms Guardian Greatsword. It's an equipped spell with the following unique effect. The equipped monster can attack twice in one turn. Deep Dive Arms Idle Blades. Equip this card only to a Deep Dive monster. The equipped monster gains 500 attack. Yeah, no special unique effects on that one. Deep Dive Archetype Equip spell, none I'll say here since it doesn't have a unique effect. Deep Dive Arms Knight Sword is an equipped spell with the following unique effect. The equipped monster gains 5 attack for every Deep Dive Knight monster in the graveyard. Dive Arms Mace. Equipped spell, nothing else to say here since it does have a unique effect. Same goes with the Dive Arms Quiet Blade. Equipped spell, nothing much to say here, no unique effect here. This one. Deep Dive Arms Rapier. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. When the equipped monster declares an attack, inflict 500 LP damage to the targeted monster. They're even in defense position. You can activate one Deep Dive Arms Rapier per turn. Deep Dive Arms Rifle. It's an equipped spell with the following unique effect. Inflict damage equal to 2 times the equipped monster's original attack when it attacks your opponent directly. Deep Dive Arms Scepter. It's an equipped spell. Not enough for to say here since it doesn't have a unique effect. Deep Dive Arms Scythe. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. If you control no Deep Dive Arms spell cards except Deep Dive Arms Scythe, you can add one Deep Dive Arms spell card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Arms Spear. Equipped spell, nothing else to say here since there's no unique effect. Deep Dive Arms Spy's Gun. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. Destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls. You can only use this effect Deep Dive Spy's Gun once per turn. Deep Dive Arms Swordbreaker. An equipped spell with the following effect. The equipped monster gains 500 attack for every spell or trap card in the graveyard. Deep Dive Arms Self Sword. An equipped spell with the following unique effect. Add 500 attack to the equipped monster for every Deep Dive Fairy card in the graveyard. Use one Deep Dive Arms Self Sword per turn. Well, that's it for the Deep Dive Arms. Now, time to get into the Deep Dive Augments. A little bit to go through, so starting off, Deep Dive Augment Battle Maids. It is a level 4 Wind Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 1. But the pendulum effect is all Deep Dive Fairy monsters cannot be vanished. This effect cannot be negated. And its monster effect is unique effects is the following. Target one Deep Dive Fairy monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use this effect Deep Dive Augment Battle Maids once per turn. Deep Dive Augment Blacksmith. That's level 4 Fire Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 1. With the pendulum effect, all Deep Dive arms cards cannot be destroyed. This effect cannot be negated. With its monster effect as following. Add one Deep Dive Arms spell card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect at Deep Dive Augment Blacksmith once per turn. Deep Dive Augment Fencer is a level 4 Water Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 8 with 1700 attack and 1900 defense. The pendulum effect is, while this card is on the field, all Deep Dive monster control can be destroyed by card effects. This effect cannot be negated. And has the following unique monster effect. Add one Deep Dive Augment monster from your graveyard to your hand. Now I activate this effect to Deep Dive Augment Fencer once per turn. Deep Dive Augment Merchant. It's a level 4 Earth Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 8 with 2400 attack and 2400 defense. It has the following Pendulum effect. ODI monster control gain 500 attack for every deep dive spell or trap in your graveyard. This effect cannot be negated. Target one deep dive spell or trap card in your graveyard. Shuffle into your deck, and if you do, draw one card. Can we use this effect to deep dive Augment Merchant once per turn? Deep Dive Augment Samurai. Level 4 Fire Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 1 with 100 attack and 1500 defense. It has the following pendulum and unique effects. ODI monster control cannot be banished. This effect cannot be negated. Destroy all monsters opponent controls and inflict damage equal to destroying monsters' combined attack. Can we use this effect to deep dive Augment Samurai once per turn? Deep Dive Augment Sniper. Level 4 Light Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 8 with 1700 attack and 1500 defense with the following pendulum and unique effect. All Deep Dive Ravagers exceeds monster control can be destroyed by battle or card effects. This effect cannot be negated. ODI monster control can attack directly. Can we use this effect to Deep Dive Augment Sniper once per turn? Deep Dive Augment Swordsman. Level 4 Dark Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 1 with 1800 attack and 1600 defense and the following effects. Pendulum unique effect. While this card is on the field, all Deep Dive monsters you control can be destroyed by battle. This effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, add one Deep Dive Augment monster from your deck to your hand. And last but not least, as far as the Augment cards are concerned, Deep Dive Augment Tamer. Level 4 Wind Warrior Pendulum monster with a scale of 8 with 1500 attack and defense, and the following pendulum and unique effects. All Deep Dive Beast monster control cannot be destroyed by battle. This effect cannot be negated. Best summon one Deep Dive Beast monster from your graveyard. You can only use this effect from Deep Dive Augment Tamer once per turn. And so far, currently the only Deep Dive Beast monster in the archetype so far, Deep Dive Beast Dragon. Level 4 Water Dragon monster with 1500 attack and defense, and the following effect. If Deep Dive Adventurer Tamer is on the field, you can spell summon this card from your hand. When this card is summoned, ODI monster control gain 500 attack. ODI Adventurer monster control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Deep Dive Bonds. There's a normal spell with the following effect. Tribute the acquired materials in order to perform a fuse and summon. Deep Dive monsters summoned through fuse and summon through this method cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Deep Dive Call of the Knights is a ritual spell with the following effect. This card is always treated as a Deep Dive Knight card. Tribute Deep Dive monsters of different names whose levels equal to that of a Deep Dive Knight ritual monster from the field or your hand. If you do, ritual summon one Deep Dive monster from your hand or deck. Deep Dive Class Chains. Normal spell with the following effect. When this card is activated, tribute one Deep Dive monster you control. Best summon one Deep Dive Adventure monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only activate one Deep Dive Class Chains per turn. And so far, currently the trio of Deep Dive Darklander cards. First off, Deep Dive Darklander Dark Knight General. There's a level 6 Dark Warrior monster with 2700 attack and 2300 defense, and has the following effect. Unique effect. This card gets 500 attack for every Dark Attribute Deep Dive monster in your graveyard. Deep Dive Dark Laner Dark Knight Lieutenant is a level 6 Dark Warrior monster with 2300 attack and 2700 defense. It has the following unique effects. A Deep Dive Dark Laner General is on the field. You can spell summon this card from your hand. When this card is summoned, all Deep Dive monsters control gain 500 attack. When this card is in the graveyard, add one Deep Dive Dark Laner card from your deck to your hand. I'm gonna have to reword that a bit. Deep Dive Dark Laner Pugilist. It is a level 6 Dark Warrior effect monster with 3000 attack and 2500 defense. And has the following unique effects. Once per turn, while this card's on the field, spell summon Deep Dive Night monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring a summoning condition. Now, next up are the Deep Dive Fairy cards, where mostly my tuners and synchros are. Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip is a level 3 wind fairy tuner monster with 1400 attack and 1300 defense with the following effect. When this card uses material sent to the graveyard, shuffle into your deck during your end phase. Now, all the fairy tuners have the same effect, so I'm just getting over those. Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip Archer is a level 7 Light Warrior Synchro monster with 2700 attack and 2300 defense. It has the following effect. Requires one Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip plus one non-tuner Deep Dive monster. All direct attacks from this card deal double damage. Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip Knight is a level 7 Light Warrior Synchro monster with 2700 attack and 2700 defense. It has the following unique effect. Requires one Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip plus one non-turn Deep Dive monster. Once per turn, you can spell summon Deep Dive Night monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring a summoning condition. Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip Queen is a level 7 Earth Warrior Synchro Pendulum monster with scale 13. It has the following pendulum and unique effects. All Deep Dive Fairy monster control cannot be destroyed by card effects. This effect cannot be negated. This card goes to the pendulum scale once it's destroyed instead of the graveyard. This card gains 500 attack for every light and wind attribute Deep Dive monster in your graveyard. Halfway through the list already. Deep Dive Cape Zip Tamer is a level 7 Wind Warrior Synchro monster with 2500 attack and 2500 defense. It has the following unique effects. Requires one Deep Dive Fairy Cape Zip plus one non-turn Deep Dive monster. All Deep Dive Beast cards you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Deep Dive Fairy Gnome. Hold on. Not gonna touch much on these because it has the same effect. That's just every other card. Our Deep Dive Fairy card. Deep Dive Fairy Gnome Merchant. It's a level 7 Earth Warrior Synchro monster with 2500 attack and 3000 defense. And has the following unique effects. Requires one Deep Dive Fairy Gnome plus one non-turn Deep Dive monster. Target one Deep Dive card in your graveyard, shuffle into your deck, and if you do, draw one card. Deep Dive Fairy Imp. Level 3 Dark Fairy Tuner monster with 1600 attack and 1500 defense. Not much else to say since, well, the same effect as the others. Deep Dive Fairy Imp Swordswoman. As level 7 Dark Warrior Synchro monster with 2900 attack and 2400 defense has the following unique effect. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Imp plus 1 non-tuner Deep Dive monster. All Deep Dive monsters control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, target 1 Deep Dive card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Moment, please. Deep Dive Fairy Leprechaun. Level 3 Fire Fairy Tuner monster with 1300 attack, 4000 defense. Not much else to say since all Deep Dive Fairy tuners have the same effect. Deep Dive Fairy Leprechaun Blacksmith. A level 7 Fire Warrior Synchro monster with 2300 attack to 2300 defense has the following unique effect. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Leprechaun plus 1 non-turn Deep Dive monster. Target 1 Deep Dive arms card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Deep Dive Fairy Leprechaun Idol. Level 7 Fire Warrior Synchro monster with 2900 attack and 1500 defense. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Leprechaun plus 1 non-tuner Deep Dive monster. Not much else to say. Deep Dive Fairy Polka. Level 3 Light Tuner Fairy monster. Tuner monster with 1500 attack and defense. Not much else to say. Deep Dive Fairy Polka Researcher. Level 7 Light Warrior Synchro monster with 2500 attack and 2900 defense. And requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Polka plus 1 non-tuner Deep Dive monster. Not much else to say. Deep Dive Fairy Salamander. Level 3 Fire Fairy Tuner monster with 900 attack, 1500 defense. Not much else to say on that one. Deep Dive Fairy Salamander General is a level 7 Fire Magical Knight Synchro Pendulum monster with a scale of 9 and 3000 attack and 2500 defense. Has the following pendulum and unique effects. All fire attribute Deep Dive monsters cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. This effect cannot be negated. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Salamander plus 1 non-turn Deep Dive monster. This card gains 500 attack for every fire attribute monster in the graveyard. Deep Dive Salamander Samurai. Level 7 Fire Warrior Synchro monster with 3000 attack, 2500 defense. And requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Salamander plus 1 non-turn Deep Dive monster. Moment, please. Deep Dive Fairy Spriggan. Level 3 Dark Tuner Fairy monster. Tuner monster with 1500 attack and defense. Not much else to say on this matter. Deep Dive Fairy Spriggan Swordsman. Level 7 Dark Warrior Synchro monster with 2500 attack, 2000 defense. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Spriggan plus 1 non-tuner Deep Dive monster as the following unique effect. Target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and deal life point damage equal to your target monster's original attack. Deep Dive Fairy Sylph. Level 3 Wind Fairy Tuner monster with 1500 attack and defense. and no special effect. No unique effect. Deep Dive Fairy Self Battle Maze. Level 7 Wind and Magical Knight Synchro Monster with 3,400 attack and 1,500 defense, and has the following unique effects. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Self plus 1 non-true Deep Dive Monster. This card gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive Fairy card in your graveyard. Deep Dive Fairy Self Queen. As a level 7 Wind Magical Knight Synchro Pendulum Monster with a skill of 0 and 2,400 attack and 1,900 defense, 2,700 attack with the following pendulum and unique effects. All Deep Dive Fairy monster control cannot be destroyed by battle. This card goes to the pendulum scale when it's destroyed instead of the graveyard. This card gains 5 attack for every Wind attribute Deep Dive monster in the graveyard. Deep Dive Fairy Undyne. Level 3 Water Fairy Tuna Monster with 600 attack and 1,400 defense. None of myself say here. Deep Dive Fairy Undyne Fencer. Level 7 Water Warrior Synchro Monster with 2,600 attack and 2,400 defense. Requires 1 Deep Dive Fairy Undyne plus 1 non-tuner Deep Dive Monster. Gain 500 life, once per turn, gain 500 life points for every Deep Dive monster in the graveyard. Okay, 3 more pages to go. I can do this. Now, 2 generic supports. Deep Dive Forwards. Normal spell with the following effect. Target 1 Deep Dive Arm spell card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Deep Dive Frost Apprentice. Level 4 Fire Warrior Monster with 1,500 attack and defense, and the following effect. If Deep Dive Adventurer Frost Swordsman is on the field, you can spell summon this card from your hand. With this card summoned, all Deep Dive monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once returned, you can add 1 Deep Dive spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Next up are the Goddess cards. Deep Dive Goddess of Creation. It's a Link 3 Divine Warrior Link monster with 3,700 attack. Requires 3 Deep Dive monsters, and has the following unique effect. This card gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive card this card points to. Deep Dive Goddess of Fire. Level Link 3 Link Warrior Link monster. Requires 3 Deep Dive monsters and has the following effect. If the Deep Dive monster this card points to is equipped with a Deep Dive on its card, that monster gains an additional 500 attack. Deep Dive Goddess of the Earth. Level 3 Earth Warrior Link monster, Link 3 with 4,400 attack. Requires 3 Deep Dive monsters and has the following unique effect. All Deep Dive Fairy cards this card points to cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Deep Dive Goddess of the Sun. Link 3 Divine Warrior Link monster with 3,700 attack, and has the following unique effect. All monsters this card points to can attack directly. Deep Dive Goddess of Wind. Link 3 Wind Warrior Link monster. All these have all down arrows, so I don't feel the need to explain that one. All Deep Dive Beast monsters card points to can be destroyed by battle or card effects. Now, on to the Knights. Deep Dive Knight 01. Level 8 Water Warrior Ritual Monster with 4,000 attack and 3,500 defense. Is the following effect. Must first build a summon with Deep Dive Call of the Knights. All the eye monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Deep Dive Knight 02. Level 8 Light Warrior Ritual Monster with 3,500 attack and 4,000 defense. It has the following unique effect. All Deep Dive monster control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Deep Dive Knight 07. Level 8 Fire Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,700 attack and 3,300 defense. Has the following unique effect. Once per turn, deal 500 life point damage for every Deep Dive monster in your graveyard. Deep Dive Knight 10. Level 8 Dark Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,900 attack and 3,900 defense has the following unique effect. If your opponent declares an attack on a Deep Dive monster, discard one card, and if you do, the attacking monster is destroyed instead. Can we use this effect at Deep Dive Knight 10 once per turn? Deep Dive Knight 12. Level 8 Dark Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,500 attack and 3,000 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, while its cards on the field, special one Deep Dive Dark Monster from your deck or graveyard. I'm gonna have to reword that. Deep Dive Knight 16. Level 8 Wind Warrior Ritual Monster with 200,000 attack and 2,500 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, this card can attack directly. Deep Dive Knight 18. Level 8 Earth Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, destroy all spell or trap cards your opponent controls. Deep Dive Knight 27. Level 8 Wind Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,400 attack and 2,000 defense has the following unique effect. When you can target one spell or trap card your opponent controls and destroy it. Deep Dive Knight 28. Level 4 Dark Warrior Ritual Monster with 1,500 attack and defense, and has the following unique effect. When this card declares an attack, your opponent loses 500 defense for every Deep Dive monster you control. Deep Dive Knight 29. Level 4 Dark Warrior Ritual Monster with the same stats as 28. That has the following unique effect. When this card declares an attack, the opponent's monster loses 500 attack for every Deep Dive monster you control. Deep Dive Knight 30. Level 8 Light Warrior Ritual Monster with 3,900 attack and 2,900 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once a turn, you can add one Deep Dive Knight card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Knight 31. This is going to be easier for me. Level 8 Water Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,500 attack and defense. It has no unique effect. Deep Dive Knight 32. Level 8 Water Warrior Ritual Monster with 2,800 attack and 2,600 defense. It has the following unique effect. This card gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive monster in the graveyard. We got a couple of pages left. I can do this. Deep Dive Knight 33 is a level 4 Fire Warrior Ritual Pendulum Monster with scale 1 with 2,500 attack and defense. That's the following unique effect. This card gains Pawing Pendulum and unique effect. When this card's in a Pendulum Zone, Pendulum summon all Deep Dive monsters from your hand in order to summoning condition. He'll use this effect at Deep Dive Night 3-3 once per turn. The target gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive Night monster in your graveyard. Deep Dive Night 3-4. A level 4 Dark Warrior Ritual Pendulum monster with the same stats as 33 with a scale of 9. But the following pendulum and unique effect. When its cards in the pendulum zone, all Deep Dive Night monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. This attack cannot be negated. This card gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive armed spell card in your graveyard. Deep Dive Librarian. Level 4 Light Spellcaster monster with 2000 attack but 1000 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, you can add one Deep Dive Call of the Night from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Login. Normal spell. Add one Deep Dive World spell card from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive Mentor. Water Warrior effect monster with 2000 attack and defense. Target one Deep Dive Mentor swordsman in your deck or graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect Deep Dive Mentor once per turn. Deep Dive Pitfall. Normal trap, this following effect. When your opponent targets a Deep Dive monster with a card effect, negate it, and if you do, your opponent can use spell or trap cards for the rest of their turn. Oh, again? Seriously? This is gonna take forever at this rate. Now to the Ravengers. Deep Dive Ravager Blacksmith. Rank 4 Fire Warrior XYZ monster with 2300 attack and defense has the following unique effect. Requires 2 level 4 Deep Dive monsters. All Deep Dive armed spell cards you control cannot be destroyed. Deep Dive Ravager Fencer. Level 4 Water Warrior XYZ monster with 2600 attack and 2400 defense. It has the following unique effect. Once per turn, you can have one Deep Dive monster from your graveyard, use it as Maziz material. Deep Dive Ravager Green. Number 4 Earth Warrior XYZ Pendulum monster with 2000 attack and 2500 defense with a scale of 8 and has the following pendulum and unique effects. All Deep Dive Ravager monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. This effect cannot be negated. And it goes to the pendulum scales where it's destroyed instead of the graveyard. Attacks one XYZ material, destroy one spell or trap card opponent controls. Only used as effect at Deep Dive Ravager Green once per turn. Deep Dive Ravager Pink. Level 4 Fire Warrior XYZ Pendulum monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense with a scale of 1 has the following pendulum and unique effects. Target one Deep Dive Ravager monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect at Deep Dive Ravager Pink once per turn. This card goes to the pendulum scales when it's destroyed instead of the graveyard. Detach one XYZ material, and if you do, card declare an additional attack. You can only use this effect at Deep Dive Ravager Pink once per turn. Deep Dive Ravager Samurai. Level 4 Fire Warrior XYZ monster with 3000 attack, 25 defense. no unique effect. Level 4, White Warrior, Deep Dive Ravager Sniper. Level 4, Light Warrior XD's monster with 2700 attack and 2300 defense, and has the following unique effect. This card can attack directly for every XD's material it has. Deep Dive Ravager Swordsman. Level 4, Dark Warrior XD's monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and has the following unique effect. When turn on one Deep Dive Ravager monster from your extra deck, hand, or graveyard. And the last of the Ravager monsters, Deep Dive Ravager Tamer. It's a level 4, rank 4 Wind Warrior XD's monster with 23,500 attack and defense. That has the following unique effect. This card gains 500 attack for every Deep Dive beast uses XD's material. Deep Dive Rest. Normal spell with the following effect. Target one Deep Dive monster to your graveyard, shuffle your deck, and if you do, draw a blue card. Deep Dive Scout. Level 4 Wind Fairy monster with 1500 attack and 1000 defense with the following effect. Unique effect. This card is always treated as a Deep Dive Fairy card. While this card is on the field, special summon one Deep Dive Fairy tuner monster from your hand or deck, and will use this effect to Deep Dive Scout once per turn. Deep Dive Sword Apprentice. Level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1500 attack and defense. It has the following unique effects. If Deep Dive Adventurer Swordsman is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. While it's turn, add one Deep Dive monster from your deck to your hand. Deep Dive World Castle. It's a field spell with the following effect. All the unique effects. All Deep Dive monster control cannot be destroyed by card effects. When this card is activated, you can add one Deep Dive Adventurer card from your deck to your hand, except for Deep Dive World Castle. You can only activate one Deep Dive World Castle per turn. Okay, last page. I can do this. More, please. Deep Dive World Cathedral. Field spell with the following unique effect. When this card is on the field, add one Deep Dive Night card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Deep Dive World Cathedral per turn. Deep Dive World Darklands. Field spell, following effect. All Deep Dive monster control cannot be banished. Once returning, spell someone Deep Dive Dark World or monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You only activate one Deep Dive World Darklands per turn. Deep Dive World Gun City. Field spell, following effect. All Deep Dive Ravager XZ's monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Once a turn, you can add one Deep Dive monster from your graveyard and attach it to an XZ's monster. You can only activate one Deep Dive World Gun City per turn. And last but not least, as far as the World Series is concerned, Deep Dive World Tree. Field spell with the following effect. Unique effect. All Deep Dive monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Once a turn, you can add one Deep Dive Fairy card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Deep Dive World Tree per turn. And the final card I have so far is Dark King of the Deep Dive Knights. It is a level 8 Divine Warrior Fusion monster with 3600 attack and 3200 defense. Requires one Deep Dive Adventurer Swordsman plus one Deep Dive Adventurer Frost Swordsman. All Deep Dive monsters control gain 500 attack. all the monsters you control companies worry about or effects. Moment, please. There. It seems we are gonna stop here for the time being. Don't you worry. I'm going to pick up where you left off, and thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. And we'll see you guys next time.